Okay guys, we're back again. As I said, we're going to do another test here for the MiniHeat because of the request that I got. As you guys just watched in just the previous video I did, it was the side-by-side boil times for the hiker and the MiniHeat with the issues that were being posed and questioned from somebody else. I was requested to do that, and here's the pot stand that is supplied, which is a 5-loop, 5-squared pot stand. Okay, and I said in the previous video comments about, I use a shorter pot stand for this. There's a lot of different variances, and so I'm going to get this going, and then I'll talk a little bit more. 2 cups of water. Okay. Just like previous in the other 2 videos. At room temperature, it's approximately 68 degrees here. As you can see, per the marking, if you watched last video, still at the same level previously for what fuel was used by the MiniHeat. This is the bottle that was used on the MiniHeat last time. And I'm doing this for a reason. I want to show how, since we did 2 cups previously, and especially when doing like the minimalist thing and you're only going to use absolutely what you need, we're talking about fuel, you can see roughly how much is going to be used. If you're using only a cup at a time, basically you would have already boiled 2 cups of water. That would have been 2 meals. So in essence, we're basically doing like another 2 meals here as far as water goes. Not completely exact, because it's actually easier to boil within a range a larger amount of water with a good base once your heat is there, rather than having to start fresh each time. So there's a little bit of give and take there. Now let me fire this bad boy up. We'll start the timer. And we'll get it going for you guys. And while this is going, I'm going to talk a little bit about, once again, the advantages and disadvantages from having different style stoves. Advantages on the MiniHeat, of course, it's small, it's very lightweight, it's very compact. You can easily put this in your pocket. As showed on other videos, all I did was use a McCormick little pepper container, and that's what I actually keep it in. And this will fit right in your pocket. I mean, you can see from the size of my hand. Okay, take this guy with you anywhere. And the nipple cap, the hose, and the stove itself. Have a little flask bottle. You see how small this is. You can stick this in like a little, you wear cargo pants. You stick that all in one pocket, carry it around, and it's almost no weight. Disadvantage to such a small stove is, although the belly on it is good, there's not much of a reservoir. So you have to fuel your bottle more often, or fuel your stove more often, I should say. If you watched the previous video and you saw the little trick that a lot of people who use stoves for a long time know about, releasing the pressure on the cap before you let go of the pressure on the bottle, meaning you got it pressed, you release the pressure, you tighten it back down. What it does is the fuel that's in your line will actually run back to your felt here, so you actually have more fuel to burn before you have to refuel. So rather than doing it every minute and a half, 2 minutes, you can get roughly about 3 minutes, roughly, depending on all the other variables, somewhere between 2.5 and 3 minutes before you need to refuel. The advantage to the other stove like the hiker is, of course, it has a rather large reservoir. If you noticed, I only had to fill it or do a refill before it came to a boil, and that was only a partial refill. I didn't even completely fill it up, and it was able to bring the water to a boil. So more heat, less time to boil, but also less controllable. And what I mean by that is you just have the heat, period. The stove works awesome, but it's basically it's one setting. It's either burning or it's not. Okay. When you have something like the MiniHeat, just like the Georgia Heat, the great thing is you can take that upper ring off if you want. It's going to take longer to heat up something, but it is more manageable, not only in fuel consumption, but if you're trying to cook at lower heats. Maybe you need a lower heat for a while, then that may work better for you. By the way, look, it's a little over 3 minutes and it's time to refuel. And see, I got to goofing off too much, and look what I did. I overfueled it. That's okay, it'll burn off. I cheat, I'm pulling it a little bit close here so I don't burn the hose. Okay. So look, just showing you can always make a mistake no matter how well you know something. Everyone goofs up every now and then. I was trying to use my flashlight to simulate it just being completely daylight because I'm trying to make sure you guys can still see this. And it's constantly trying to keep playing and playing and playing with it. It is a because you got to remember it's a blue flame. You can't see it burning in the middle of the day during the brightest daytime. It is actually better to have some form of shading so you can see this. So you just want to, when you start seeing the red emberness, what you want to do is that's when it's time to refuel, when you're getting that red glowish look. And what you want to do is you want to go until your felt looks like it's wet. Once that's done, you're good to go. My problem was as I tried to, since I was holding the light as well, as I tried to screw the cap back on, I pressed a little too hard on the bottle, so squirted a little more fuel out. But it happens, and as you see, it was very minimal. Nothing really happened. It's about being human. So the other downside is when you do that, of course, then you are also burning all your fuel up a lot quicker too. And just so you can see, I mean, since I did burn a lot of it off, if you do press down on the bottle to fuel it, like I'm doing here, you see it changes just a little bit. It's going to come back to looking blue, just like so. Okay, you see how there's kind of a ring there. Looks wonderful. Now you'd let go of the bottle, and this is without doing this. You'll notice it'll dim down just a little bit, barely, and then come right back. And this is perfectly fine, and it will work very well that way. Okay, it's just a matter of preference. I will do another test, both with the hiker stove and with this stove, and what I'll do is and I'll do those individually probably next week. And what I'll do is I will actually use a windscreen with them, so you can see it lit, and then it'll be the same thing. You won't really be able to see the stove because of the windscreen, but what I'll do is you'll see me light it and close the windscreen up, and then what'll happen is we'll see the timer and see what kind of differences there are. Okay, because when you trap that heat, of course it's then radiant, and you're conducting more heat to the sides as well. So heat transfers to anything that's cooler than itself. Okay, everybody, 9 minutes, roughly 9 minutes and 20 seconds. We're at a rolling boil there. It started making the sound about 20 seconds, 30 seconds before that, so it was about 8 minutes, 50 seconds when the boil first started. It was a boil, not a rolling boil at that time. Basically, same deal. You're looking at roughly about 1.5, 2-minute difference just by the pot stand being shorter. This does not work for everything. Just so you know, there is that variance there. Roughly about 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch of space between your stove and your pot is excellent for boiling. Anything higher, your times are going to be a little bit longer because there's too much heat loss. Anything that's too close, there's too much heat dispersion on the sides, and it's never going to truly come to a boil. I tried it with a 3-pot stand, and it actually, believe it or not, it actually took 16 minutes and a little more fuel to finally get it to come to just a soft boil, not a hard rolling boil. And as you see, we've used up approximately half of the bottle, and this is a 2-ounce bottle. So even at that note, going this route, if you did use a 2-cup meal each time with 1 2-ounce bottle, you should be able to get roughly 4 meals. Carry 2 of these, man, you got enough to last you for a couple of days. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one. This is Scott signing out.